I only have 4 words to describe Deadpool and Wolverine, and that is we are so back. Cue the intro. All right, y'all. So I just got back from seeing Deadpool and Wolverine at San Diego Comic-Con 2024, and man, that was one of the best movie-going experiences I've had in a very, very long time. And listen, I know I don't have my regular background. That's because I am in my hotel room in San Diego, but I just wanted to make this video just to give you guys some of my initial thoughts on the film so far and what you can expect when you go into theaters either tomorrow or this weekend. This will be as non-spoilery as possible, but it's kind of hard to talk about this movie without giving a little bit of something, and so just please be advised for what I'm about to go into. And so off the top of my noggin, Ryan Reynolds is in peak form as he always is with the Deadpool franchise, but I especially loved him in the development that he did with Deadpool and with Wade Wilson. We see an empathetic Deadpool, a Deadpool who really cares about who he is. And you know, the question that is asked the most by this character is simply that he wants to matter. Quite simply, he wants to matter, and how can he do that, right? And so I think that's one of, that's the heart of the film, the gusto. But of course, what is the true heart of the film, I believe, is Hugh Jackman's performance as Wolverine. It's definitely one of his best performances as the character. I would think only second to Logan. I think he really displayed throughout his career of playing Wolverine and playing Logan, he has shown us the full 360 of this character. And I feel that, if this was his last project playing Wolverine, then I think that that we're in a good spot with it. We may not ever need to see him play Wolverine ever again just because of the amazing work that he's done. I think that we'll see him again just because that's just my initial thoughts on the whole thing. But going forward, I thought his character, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, was definitely the secondary heart of the film. The film, action-wise, amazing. Top tier, top quality as always. In terms of the story, I've seen people say that the story was a little all over the place, that it was a little loose, and in that way I can understand some of what they're saying, but at the same time, the story itself is not, the storyline itself is not what you're there for. You're there for Deadpool. You're there for Ryan Reynolds. You're there to see Wolverine, and you're there to see them do what they do. And so whatever villain, whatever circumstance they put in front of the character, it's not going to matter, not as much as the character moments that we have with the character and what we've seen. And so this movie, I would say, is definitely one of the most fan servicey movies that we've had from Marvel in a very, very long time. When I think of fan service, I can think of, there's been several movies that have been quote unquote fan service. Spider-Man No Way Home felt like fan service, which is great. Endgame, Infinity War, fan service, of course. Another fan service film, and the most recent one that I felt like was fan service, was Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, where we got John Krasinski as Reed Richards, and we got to see different versions. We got to see Paul Stewart as Professor X in the MCU, and that was great. We get very similar cameos to what we saw in Multiverse of Madness, but we get to spend more time with these characters and some great callbacks. If you were a lover of the Fox Marvel films, and I mean all of them, Daredevil, Elektra, Fantastic Four, the X-Men, of course, and then if you're a fan of that early Fox universe, you will absolutely love this film because that is exactly what it is harkening back to. It includes aspects from all of those films and it pulls from all of those great moments. And it felt very nostalgic in the same way that I felt other projects have gone in the multiverse and with the MCU. And it kind of bordered. I felt like that's what Secret Wars is gonna feel like. It's gonna feel very nostalgic, very punchy. I can just talk about a cameo that's already been kind of released in the trailers. We got to see our girl Daphne Keene back as X-23, a more mature, grown-up version of her, and she rocked it. She only had a few lines, but she called back to the original Logan in certain fight sequences, and she just blows it out of the water. The other people who make cameos are also very strong here, and I want to see more of them in these characters. With the special effects that we have today, you can tell that Marvel poured a lot into this film. And it was also very apparent. I think this is the only Marvel film we're getting this year, and so you can tell by the promotion, by the CGI, the effects, all of that stuff was top tier and it was on point. And I think when Marvel really has a chance to just hone in on one or two projects, they get the very best out of it, at least with how things look, how things visually present, the action, the spectacle of it all always hits when they have that moment and when they have that time. I think Marvel has a villain problem. We've all said this. You know this. If you're a Marvel fan, then you know that Marvel has a villain problem. I think this villain is yet another forgettable villain, not in the same way that Thanos was memorable, not in the same way as Killmonger was memorable. Those were very tentpole villains for the franchise and for Marvel as a whole. This villain, not really hitting on much of anything, but hey, we're here for Deadpool and Wolverine, and we're not here for Emma Corrin. As good as her performance was, as Charles Xavier's twin sister, it was a good performance, but it wasn't anything where I was like, wow, I'm gonna remember her. And I'm going to remember her for a long periodically time. And so, ratings wise, this is a flawless film in my opinion. I love Marvel. I love these films. I don't rate most of them below a 3 anyway out of 5 stars, but this one was 5 out of 5. Action was peak. I felt like it had some really good moments, some really good dialogue with these characters, especially getting more into this version of Wolverine and what they went through and just how they tied together all these years of history, 20 plus years of history with that character, and they nailed it. Point blank, period. Don't have any notes. And so, I want to do a full spoiler review. Probably won't do that just because by the time I'm able to really sit down and really break it down with you guys, it'll be past the time for it. So I just want to get this out to y'all today and then have y'all come up with y'all conclusions on what you guys think. So as always, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe as that helps my channel grow. And this has never been a Juju Writes review. Keep it locked.